All right, welcome everybody. I am pre-recording this tonight because I am actually at a retreat right now, doing some scrapbooking. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I had so much fun with this stamp set. It's the Gnome for the Holidays stamp set, and I had a blast. So tonight we're going to do a Christmas card and a Halloween card, because I'm going to be airing this next week, which is going to be the last week of September, and we're going right into October. So yay! How exciting is that? So just some housekeeping really quick. Let me stick this up there. So for September, because this will be airing the last week of September, that is the hostess code. You can order it juliebrown.stampinup.net. You can contact me at Julie's Creative Stampin at juliescreativestampin@gmail.com. And please please go to my Pinterest and my blog, Julie's Creative Stampin on my Pinterest page, and my blog is stampinjuliebrown.blogspot.com. I post tons of cards and instructions on those sites, so go take a look and see what's going on. So anyway, if you guys are here tonight, you can go ahead and type in the comments. Because I'm not doing this live, I will not see them until later, but I will answer them at a later time, where you can go back to this video and see if you had a question. You can look at the answer to that question. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, before I get started, please follow me on my Facebook page, which is Julie's Creative Stampin'. It's just like my Pinterest. And that way, anytime I go live or anytime I post a video, you will be notified. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. And again, you will get notified anytime I post a new video. So let's get started tonight. Okay, so this is the stamp set. And the first one that I'm going to do is going to be the Christmas one. And I'm in love with the gnomes. The minute I saw this, I knew I wanted it. Okay, so what we need for this one is we are going to need a 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4 of the shaded spruce. And then you're going to need 2 4 by 5 1/4 whisper white pieces. This one looks a little short. Or maybe this one looks a little big. Nope, optical illusion. And then you're going to need a 2.5 by 4. This is the 'Tis the Season Designer Series paper that's in the mini catalog. And then you're going to need 2 strips that are about 1 3/4 by about 4. And you're going to be stamping the gnomes onto this. And I've already stamped and cut out one of the gnomes and colored just for the sake of time. And then I'm going to color this one with you. And then you're also going to need a whisper white strip that is 1.5 by 3.5. So let's get started. So obviously I would have stamped both of these in black memento ink. And like I said, this little lady I've already got colored. So I'm going to color this one with you right now. And I'm going to be using the Stampin' blends. And I'm bringing in the dark shaded spruce. And we're going to work on his hat. And what I'm going to do is kind of make this 3 different colors, because I want green, white, red, and then we're going to do the shaded spruce again here, and then again here. All right, so that's going to be the hat for now. Then I'm going to bring in the dark real red Stampin' blend. I know watching coloring isn't always a lot of fun, but I just wanted to kind of show you guys. For those of you that haven't used Stampin' blends, I wanted to go ahead and show that technique. These are the blendable markers, and I'm actually not blending them a lot in this particular one, but the nice thing is that there's some other areas that I'm going to be blending, so that's why I decided to do the blends with all of them. If you're not going to blend, then you could just as easily use our markers. Okay, so then I'm going to do like his sock here. or actually this is his shoe. And then I'm going to do this little bow in red. And the reason I'm not doing a lot of blending this time is because there's so little that it's hard to actually blend when they're this little. Then I'm going to come back in with the shaded spruce, and I'm going to do the leaves on there. And then we're going to go ahead and color in his little top or his coat here. And I don't know if I said, but I stamped him with the black Memento ink. All right, so there's that. And then for the ornament, I'm gonna do smoky slate for the top. And then I'm going to bring in Daffodil Delight and make the ornament in Daffodil Delight. And the reason I did that is because I don't know if you can see it, but on her, she's got like a Christmas tree on her head, and I did Daffodil Delight and Real Red as the ornaments on that. All right, and then the color I like to use for any skin tone is the dark or the light petal pink. Either one works. And so I'm just going to do his nose, and then where his eyes are, and then his hands. All right, and that's all I'm going to color on him. Now, these do not have dies that go with them, so I am going to have to fussy cut him out. And you guys all know I really am not a big fan of fussy cutting. It took me a while to get comfortable with this because I just really didn't feel like I was that efficient or that good at it. But once I learned that you basically are just kind of moving your left hand, you're using your left hand to move the paper, and then that just kind of helped me do the fussy cutting a little bit better. So that's kind of my tip for that, is just as you're coming down with the scissors, that when you get to a curve, you use the hand that is not on the scissors to go around the curve, like so. And so I basically just kind of made it go around all of this by just guiding it with my left hand, and I'm just keeping my scissors so that they're cutting. And sometimes you like that, you do have to, just because that paper gets in the way, so you do have to come back in and get that done. So again, as you can see, when I get to a curve, it's the hand that is not on the scissors that's moving the paper. And that's what helps me do the fussy cutting. And again, I just wanted to fussy cut one of these out so that you guys could just get, if you haven't done it before, you could get the gist of it. And fussy cutting means that we're not going right up against, I'm leaving a little edge. And then you don't have to be quite as exact when you're cutting out, because you're not cutting right on a line. I'm going to show you later when you might have to do that, but right now with fussy cutting. Okay, so I've got my two little gnomes. All right, so we're going to, we're also going to be using this Flowers for Every Season, the Whisper White, and I'm going to measure how much I need, and then I'm going to come in with my Shaded Spruce Stampin' Blend, and we're going to color this. So let me move it to the other side, and I'm going to use the brush tip end, and I'm just going to color that ribbon. That's what's nice about the white ribbons is, and if you've got the Stampin' Blends, because they're an alcohol-based marker, they dry really quick, and so it allows you to do this type of a coloring of the ribbon, and that way if you don't have the exact color that you need, but you've got the Stampin' Blend, then you can color it to match. They think of everything, don't they? All right, so I'm going to set that to the side. It doesn't take a lot of time to dry, but I'm just going to set it to the side for just a second, and we're actually going to kind of start building our card front here, because I'm going to do some stamping up here, so I need to get this piece. So this Designer Series piece is going to go on the bottom of the Whisper White piece that's going to be on the front of the card. So I'm just going to bring in the Stampin' Sill. Whoops. Ah. And bring this in and attach this. And I want to get it flush exactly to the edges. All right, so that's going to go there. So now what I want to do is I want to bring in this little gnome hut right here. And we're going to, again, we're going to do some coloring. I'm going to ink this up with the black Memento ink. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to get it, and I'm going to almost get it to where it's kind of going off the top, but not quite. Sorry if my head gets in the way. I'm trying to get this so I'm as high up as I can be. Okay, good. So I was trying to get, I had to kind of stand up so I could see where the top, when I'm sitting down, I can't see the top of the top edge very good. So again, I'm going to clean that with my chamois. For those of you that don't know what this is the, it comes really pretty purple when you first get it. But you just add water to it and keep it damp, and it cleans all your stamps really well. It has become my favorite for cleaning the stamps. All right, so let's color this little house. And for this, for the wood, I'm going to use crumb cake. If I can find all my crumb cakes. All right, let me look here. Okay, so I'm going to use the dark and the light. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the darker and I'm just going to trace along these lines that is part of the house or the wood of the house. So basically you're just kind of doing kind of an extra little highlight on that. And then over here it looks like there's a knot in the tree, so I'm going to use the darker for that as well. And then I'm just going to come in with the light crumb cake. And again, I'm using the pin edge. When I have a lot of detailed stuff, I use the pin edge because it just gives me a little bit more control over where the color's going. That's kind of the tip that I like to use. If I'm covering a really large area and there's not a lot of like little detailed stuff like this, then I use the brush tip because it goes very quick when you do that. All right, so we're going to get this on here. And I'm taking it right up to the edge up here. And just getting that colored in. And when I get next to, what you want to do is kind of you know, go over where it's touching, and then that helps to blend the darker and the lighter. And then you get a pretty blended color there. All right, and then I am going to come in with my light shaded spruce, and we're going to do the the grass down here. And get that filled in. And then do the leaves here at the top. Alrighty, and then for the door, I'm going to bring in my real red again. And again, kind of the same thing that I just did with the house or the tree trunk, is the areas that already kind of have the markings. I'm just going to touch them with this darker one. And then I'm going to come in with the lighter one. And blend it together so that it gives it a little bit of a contrast. And you want to be like fairly quick on this, just because you don't want to do like a big area where you're highlighting and then trying to come in, and you want it, because this is such little areas, I can do it all pretty quick, and it will blend together. And then what I'm going to do up here is I'm just going to go back and forth. And so I'm going to do a Daffodil Delight, like every other one, basically. And then come in with the real red, because I'm trying to stay with what we did on our little gnomes. And color in the Christmas lights. And then I'm going to come in with the light smoky slate and do the little tops of the ornaments. And then I'm also going to do the rocks with this. Or I guess they're more like, well, I guess some look like stones, some look like pebbles, but I'm going to do those. All right. And then I am going to come back in with the shaded spruce and do the doorknob. These guys like color. They're gnomes. Okay. Alrighty, and so then what I'm going to do is, this is nice and dry, and so I'm just going to put this at the top edge of that designer series paper. So I'm going to flip this over and kind of look at where my paper is and run a strip long enough that it will catch this ribbon when I put it around the top edge of this. And like I said, I want it right on that top edge. Oh, I don't think I put this one close enough. Did it catch it? Oh, it did catch it. Okay, whoops. But I didn't get it high enough. You know what? I'm going to run a little bit, because I kind of went on the inside, so I need some more, the tape a little closer to the edge. All right, so then it's going to look like that. And then we're going to bring in our card base and continue to put some more Stampin' Seal here. So I don't know about you guys, but I am in love with these little gnomes. I just, I don't know, I saw the stamp set and I fell completely in love with it. So this is why we're playing with gnomes today. Let's see if I can get that more centered a little bit better. I always like to try to get my left and right and bottom, except I'm putting it a little too far down. The same distance down here, and then usually I can just lay it down and it lays down great. All right, so then we should have another strip. What have I done with it? Well, here's the other Whisper White. Oh, I hate it when I lose pieces of paper. It's always hard to find. Oh, there it is. Okay, so here's our little strip. So on this, we're going to stamp the little saying that says Holly Jolly Everything. So we're going to grab that one. And we're going to do that in the black Memento ink. And I'm going to try to get it centered and straight. Yay! Always exciting when it works, right? When a plan goes together. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this, move my little gnomes. I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine and the rectangle stitch dies, because I wanted this to have a little bit of detail on it. And so I'm going to use, I think it's this bottom one that I wanted to use. So I'm going to use the second smallest on this, out of this little set over here. So I'm going to get this lined up the way I like it. And then use some washi tape. I still have not pulled out my magnetic plate, and I need to do that. I don't know why. Well, I know why, because I've been getting ready to go out of town, and so that has stopped me from unpacking a lot of stuff, because I've been busy packing to go. So I go on a retreat every year. Some very good friends of mine started this, gosh, so many years ago. And then once they had a store here, a scrapbooking store here in town, and I started going to their scrapbooking store and taking classes, and then they told me about these retreats that they do. And so I have been going since, I think my first one was, I can't even remember. I think it was like maybe 2009, maybe 2008. And they give us little t-shirts. So I have t-shirts with the years, and they do little themes, and it's just so much fun when we go. Okay, what I do with my stamp set, here it is. All right, let me just stick this back in here so I don't lose it. All right. Okay, so let's bring in our card base. And so what I want to do is I want to go ahead and adhere this down first. And let's see. This is really weird. I'm used to a lot of comments, but since I'm kind of pre-recording this, I really don't have anyone to talk to, so it's a little boring. I like it when you guys make comments. Then we're going to take the little girl and we're going to kind of attach her with some liquid glue, and she's going to kind of overlap this sentiment label. So we're just going to put some liquid glue, and I want to get a pretty good little dot up here just to make sure that lays down on that ribbon. And she's just going to kind of hang out right there. So let me just get her. And she does kind of get a little dimension to her just because she's overlapping that label. And then with this guy, I'm going to bring in my mini glue dots. Not mini glue dots. Oh my goodness. My mini Stampin' Dimensionals, because I definitely want to pop him up. But he's going to go right here. So I'm kind of looking at, like, I kind of want him to almost be touching this label. So I know I can put a dimensional here, and then maybe 2 on his hat. So I line that up so that I kind of know where I can, it's safe to put the dimensionals, because you guys know I like to straddle my ribbon. I don't like to be on top, like I don't like to put my dimensionals on the ribbon, and the reason is because it causes, the ribbon already has some dimension to it. It kind of makes it a little bit higher there, and so if I put a dimensional onto the ribbon, then it makes it so this isn't as level. Alrighty, so we're gonna stick him right there. And then we're going to bring in these fun, wonderful gems, which is, these are in the mini catalog. and they come in like a, this kind of has like a gold fleck in the middle of it, the clear ones, and then the real red ones here. And we're going to use the real red ones. So let me pull this out. And I'm actually going to use my spatula this time. And we're going to pull that up off of there. And so I'm going to put one right there. And then I think I'll do 2 of the small ones. And a small one right there. And another one right there. Alrighty, and then we just need to finish the inside of the card. And for this one, I'm going to use the sentiment, "There's no place like Gnome for the Christmas season." And because I'm doing that, I'm also going to stamp another of the little tree, and we're going to color that in down here as well. I'll try to go faster this time. So let's get the saying on there. Let's see if I can get my paper straight. Sometimes my bifocals do fine, and other times they really give me some issues when I'm trying to do things straight. Yay! It worked, it worked. I'm so excited. All right, so I'm just cleaning up that stamp, and then I'm going to come back in with the, I keep moving this stamp set, and I keep looking, what did I just do with that? Okay, so we're gonna come back in, because I just thought, because we're talking about home, I just thought it would be fun to put this on the inside of the card as well. And I'm going to be stamping it off. The whole thing's not going to be on there. So I've just got a little bit of it that you can see on there. But I just thought it would make it really cute to do that. All right. So now let me bring in my crumb cake again. I apologize. I should have probably at least stamped and colored this one in for you, so you didn't have to watch me do the same one all over again. And I'm just going to match it up to exactly what we did on the front. Let me see if I can do it fairly quickly. So I don't know about the rest of you, but like I said, I don't know why I've all of a sudden just fallen in love with gnomes. I was at a craft sale last year, and gnomes were just everywhere. And oh my gosh, there were some cute ones. And I think that's what just kind of made me like the gnomes after, you know, sitting all day at a craft fair and watching all of these cute little gnomes all around me. I kind of fell in love with them. So again, we're just going to bring in that light shaded spruce, and we're going to do the leaves. And the leaves at the top. And then we're going to bring in the real red and do the door really quick. And again, like I said, you know, you can actually do this pretty quick because it's such a small little area. It doesn't take a lot of... I wanted to make sure I had just used the right color. But it does blend, even though it's just a little bit of the, you know, dark of real red that I put on there. It still blends it together pretty good. And like I said, I really like the blends. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with the shaded spruce and do the, do the door. And then back with my reds and my yellows. And we're going to do that every other one again. Not as many because we didn't do the whole house. But I just thought it would be fun to put the house on the inside since the saying says there's no place like Gnome. And then I need my smoky slate. And I did get a little bit of red right there where I don't want it. So I'm going to bring in, if you guys have never seen this, this is the color lifter. And basically what it does is it just kind of helps you push that color. And I may have waited too long because especially with the reds, you need to kind of get it right away before it has time to dry. But all I'm doing is pushing it. So I'm pushing it back into where the red's supposed to be. And then that just kind of takes that away. But it is best if you're doing this while it is still, while the red is still wet. All right, so there's that. And then I'm just going to put my Stampin' seal on the back of this one. I'm almost out. I keep thinking it's going to run out, but this stuff goes for forever. Alrighty, and then we're just going to lay that down. And there's our little gnome Christmas card. So it says, you know, holly jolly everything. And then on the inside, there's no place like Gnome for the Christmas season. And we have the little house here. So I hope you guys like that. Leave me a comment, even though this is pre-recorded, because I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. So that is our Christmas one. Now we're going to do a Halloween one, and I'm using a lot of dies for this one. So this one will get pretty exciting. So let me just move this out of the way, and I'm going to bring in everything because I want to show you everything that I'm using for this card. So obviously the Gnome stamp set, but then I'm also using, where's it at? I'm also using the Have a Hoot bundle with this one. And I'm using the Garden Gate dies. And all of these are in the annual catalog. And I'm using the Stitch So Sweetly dies. Now I want to point something out before I get started, because the Garden Gate dies match with the Grace's Garden. And I'm not doing a spring one yet, but I want you guys to think about all of these flowers and stuff. How cute would this be? And putting the gnomes on with all the flowers and everything for spring. So that is another really good use for the gnomes. But I just didn't have time to do a spring one, but I wanted to do the Halloween one. So I'm not using this stamp set, but I just wanted to remind you that that is a bundle with this Garden Gateway dies. Okay, so let me see what I want to do first here. So I've already kind of pre-prepped some of this, if I can find where I put it all. Oh my gosh, I hate it when, oh, here it is. I try to get things out of the way and then I lose what I did with them. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to need for this one. And let me just try to move some of this out of the way. Okay, so we're going to need a 4 1/4 by 11 Blackberry Bliss scored at 5 1/2. You are going to need a Whisper White piece that is 4 by 5 1/4. And then this is the Magic in, oh, what's it called? The Magic in the Night Designer Series paper. And I've already matted it onto a piece of basic black that was 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. But this is one of the designs. So we're using this design. And what else? Oh, you need 2 little strips, and I already colored the gnome, but you'll notice I made him a wizard this time instead of a Christmas gnome. So I colored him with Rich Razzleberry and Smoky Slate. And then I pre-stamped this from the Have a Hoot, and I used Cajun Craze for the pumpkin and the Grays and Daffodil Delight for the owl. And we're going to be cutting him out in just a second. So you need 2 of these strips, or 1 strip that would be, let's see, 1.5 by 5. So if I were to have stamped both of those on the same thing, it would need to be 1.5 by 5, just so you know. Okay, so what we're going to do is, this is kind of a different little way that we're doing things, because we're going to be cutting a window into this and into our card front. So we're going to be using the dies from the Garden Gateway. Oh, and you also, I'm sorry, you're also going to need another Blackberry Bliss piece that is 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Forgot about this one. All right, let's work on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to be working with this die first, which is the frame for that garden gate. And we're going to bring in our die cutting machine. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to place this, and it will cut through both of these. That's why I want it to cut through both, and so I went ahead, that's why I went ahead and adhered them first together. That way I don't have to worry about them moving or doing the step that you're going to see me do next. I don't have to do that more than once. So we're going to just put that in place. Run this through the die cutting machine, and I don't think I have to go twice, but I will because I'm going through 2 sheets of paper. All right, so the black's already there, it came out, and so let me get this off of there. I'm gonna leave this here because we're gonna do one more little thing here. I'm always careful when I pull off that washi tape, because sometimes it tries to grab a hold of the paper and tear it. So, all right, so that leaves us the hole here. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to, I'll try to do it all right here so that you can see it. So I'm going to cut just the front of the card base. So I'm going to slide this in here, and then I'm going to put this on here as if I was actually putting it on the way it would fit on the card front. So I'm going to do the measurements. And then what I'm going to do is I have some repositionable adhesive. And so I'm just going to run that onto the back of this black one. And let me get this back in the way it's supposed to. I keep moving it, or it keeps moving. Okay, I think that's good. So then what I'm going to do while I'm holding the bottom of this, I am going to stick this back in there, take this off, and then I'm going to bring back in my frame and just kind of set it down exactly around this black piece. It should fit right inside that frame. And again, I'm going to tape it in place so that it doesn't move, because this is kind of important. And run this through. And we should only have to go through once, because we're really only cutting through one section here. Okay, so you can see it cut, and it's trying, even though it's repositionable, it's still sticking to that pretty good, and I need it not to stick because I'm going to use this black for something. But you can see it cut that out, and you can use those for some other things if you want to. I'm sure I'll find a use for those little shapes, especially this one that cut out of the designer series paper. Okay, so now we've got this cut, and then I'm going to real quick get this glue off of here because I'm going to pull in a couple other dies and try to get a bunch of die cutting done here all at the same time. So out of this black one, I'm going to pull, so it's the dies are really fun that come with the owl die. So I'm going to do this spider, and then of course I need the one that's going to cut out that owl with the pumpkin that I already colored. So I'm going to take this, and that's what I'm going to cut out of this. And you could probably get two. Then I'm going to bring in my, remember this that I showed you earlier that I colored earlier, because this is a bundle, and this bundle cuts out this little image. So let me get that. Actually, I'm going to try to move this up here because I want to see if I can fit one more thing on here to cut out. All right, I think I've got that pretty good. Okay, so that should be okay. And then I'm going to come in with this piece, and I'm going to now take the gate, not the frame, but the actual gate, and that is going to be cut from this one. There's a lot that gets cut out on this particular one. All right, so let's run these through and get all of this cut out. Make sure that stays where I want it. And of course, it's not doing that just because I said I didn't need to tape it down. I'm going to go over that twice because that's very detailed. The same with this garden one, or the gate. And my little... So when I went through the end, my little spider web die came out. So the spider web die and this die that cut out the pumpkin is part of the Have a Hoot bundle. And then this one and the one that cut this out are from the Garden Gate dies. Just so you know. Okay, so now and then I want to show you something that I thought was so cute. When I saw this, I thought, oh, I think I can use that. So see this right here? If you added some googly eyes to this, he kind of looks like a ghost, doesn't he? So that's just the part that came out of the top of that garden gate. So that could probably be something that you could use at a later time. I'm always thinking about ways to reuse stuff. All right, let me get all of this off of here, and then I can move the die cutting machine. I know that was confusing because I used so many different die sets, and there's still even one more that I'm using that I've already cut out, but I'll show you what I used for this one. This is definitely die cutting heaven with this card. All right, so now we have our gate, and we have our spider web, and I'm just going to push out some of these little things. All right. Okay, so now we're going to start assembling our card, and I'm going to get the front assembled first, and then I'm going to work on the inside. All right, so we're going to take this is our frame, and we're going to just try to get that lined up perfect with the front of that. So let me get rid of that. So I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Seal. All right. And then try to get it lined up exactly. Actually, I think that didn't. Hold on. I think it was a little bit low. All right, so there we go with that. Then what I'm going to do with this piece is I'm going to adhere that right over the top of that, and I'm just going to be putting glue right on this edge on the opposite side, but not across the bottom. It's really important that you do not put glue across the bottom. So I'm going to come in with my Tombow glue, and I'm going to try to just put little dots on the outside edge, because that's really the place that's going to be catching, because it kind of stays on the, when you put this on, part of it goes into the inside of this. So I'm going to bring in my, if I can find it, my silicone mat, just so I don't get glue on the paper and then get glue on other stuff. So I'm going to line this up down here. So that this overlaps just a bit, and then I'm just going to kind of push that down. Now you might have some seepage up here, and I just use one of these handy dandy little glue remover erasers. I know you can buy them from scrapbook.com. Stampin' Up! Used to have them, and I don't know why they don't sell them anymore. I think actually someone just recently asked Stampin' Up! That question, and they said it just had to do with, you know, not a lot of people were buying it, and they keep things for a while, but sometimes they bring them back. So we may see these little fun things come back. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Then what you're going to do is you're going to turn it this way. You're going to come in with your snips, and I know you guys can't see it, but I can see there is like a center line there, and I'm just going to snap that completely all the way. And then I'm going to leave this one down, but this side I'm going to bend so that it opens. So now you're going to have a little gate that opens. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to put this stuff to the side for just a second, because we're going to work on the inside of the card, because we've got some stamping and coloring to do. And I apologize again for making you guys watch the coloring, but there's some techniques that go with this, and so it's important that that we get that on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of lay this in here again where it would normally go. Then I'm going to push this down, and I'm going to come in with a pencil so that it gives me kind of a guideline of where I want the stuff that I'm fixing to stamp to be. So let me bring that closer just in case you didn't see that. So I basically just kind of traced that. So now I know that my stamped images need to be inside this. All right. So what I'm going to do is I am coming in with our little gnome house again, but I don't want the bottom of my gnome house. All right. I mean, I don't want the rocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this on, and I'm going to bring in a sticky note, and I am going to cover that bottom section while I'm inking up my stamp. Oh, let me move this up so you can see it. So I just covered it. Then I'm going to ink up my stamp. I'm going to remove that because that has ink on it. Then I'm going to come in and I want this to be at the bottom of that section. And we're going to put that just like that. Okay, so it stamped it without the rocks at the bottom. So I'm good. That's exactly what I wanted. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to bring in this really cute little stamp from the Have a Hoot stamp set. I know this is getting confusing because I'm using the gnomes, I'm using the the owls, and so I'm going to use the little vampire owl that's on a limb. So I'm going to bring this one in, and like I said, I already stamped this one and colored that one earlier. You saw me cut that one out just a second ago. All right, so we're going to put this on here, and this time I want to take that same Post-it note, and I am just going to cover my gnome house because I'm going to bring in this stamp, and I'm trying to get it so that it looks like it's sitting on top of the gnome house. Okay, so I brought that in. Perfect. So it looks like the owl with the limb. I could have done the limbs a little bit higher. I went a little bit low because I would have liked to have had this bottom limb, but that's okay. It's still going to look cute. So I set that owl on top of the gnome's house. All right, so now we're going to do some coloring really quick. Hopefully I can do this really quick. Let me get the stamps put back where they go. All right. Okay, so for this one, this time I wanted to do soft suede because I wanted this to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to come in with the dark soft suede. And we're going to do something fun with these Christmas lights. So again, I'm just tracing, and then this is that knot in the tree. So I want to color that dark. All right. Then we're going to come in with the light soft suede. And just blending it in, going around the leaves. And coming down here, doing the same. Just trying to get that colored in quickly. I know, like you're watching me color the same thing how many times, right? Like I said, I thought about coloring this in for you, but then I thought, oh no, I need to show them how to do that masking so that you get the owl on top of the gnome house. Or in this case, the wizard's house. This is the wizard's house. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my basic black marker. And because like this didn't stamp all the way, I'm actually going to fill in like where that branch would have been. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make little, and you can do this two ways. You could make these into spiders, or you can make them into jack-o'-lanterns, which I'm just doing little triangles with little like weird mouth. And I'll show these to you closer when I get these all done, because I didn't want them to be Christmas bulbs. I wanted them to be Halloween. So let me see if you can see those. So see how I just drew the little faces in there for those. Okay, and then I'm just going to come in with the, oh, what color was it? Cajun Craze, and I don't, oh, there it is. So I'm just going to come in with the light Cajun Craze, and I'm just going to color those jack-o'-lanterns. So they're all going to be the Cajun Craze, and I'm using Cajun Craze because that's what matches the paper. Alrighty, and then we are going to do the door in the Rich Razzleberry, which is what I did the wizard in. So we're just going to get the dark first. Whoops, come in with the light. And color it so that it blends together. I know there's a lot of coloring that you guys are having to watch, but you're gonna be glad you did when you see the finished project. All right, and then I came in with the dark smoky slate for the doorknob, and then on the tops of these. And then for the leaves, this time I did Mossy Meadow. So these are the dark Mossy Meadow. Gives it a more darker look because we are doing Halloween. And I apologize for my dog barking. He's obviously, somebody is, oh, we need that for these leaves up here too, the Mossy Meadow. Somebody must be close to my door. Oh, it's probably my husband. I think he's getting home. I don't know why the dog barks at him, but he does. And then I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight to make it look like there's kind of a glow inside the wizard's house. And then I'm going to use my dark soft suede to color in this limb up here that the owl is sitting on. All right, and then I'm going to use this light and dark soft suede for my owl, my spooky owl. And then we'll color him in. That way he's going to match the one that's hiding behind the pumpkin or the jack-o'-lantern on the front. So this is where I was showing you. So if you're not doing detailed, you can use this brush tip end and it actually will cover more, but mine's dried out. So I wonder if I have, I thought I had gotten another smoky slate, but maybe not. So this may. Let me get his face. That's why you're hearing so much squeaking, because it's almost out of the juice. Hopefully I can get this last little guy done. If not, it will be some fun shading. The shading will just look a little bit different, which doesn't hurt. All right. And then I used the, what's this one? The light basic black for his little claws that are holding on to the limb. And then I did his eyes and the moon in Daffodil Delight. Okay, so then I'm going to come in with, these are my favorite erasers, these high polymer erasers, and I am going to erase all my pencil lines. I love these because they don't leave any trace behind, and they erase really well. And then we're going to do some sponging, and there is two ways that you can do this. You could have stamped all of this onto a Post-it note and then bring your Post-it note in and cover all of this. I'm choosing not to do that. I'm just going to wing it. So I'm going to have my sponge dauber, and then I'm going to bring in basic gray. And oh, sorry, before I do that, I need to do my little saying down here. So I'm going to have a hoot on Halloween. And I needed a birthday one. I wish I had had a birthday greeting because I need a birthday one for my daughter-in-law. Her birthday is on Halloween. So I may have to make this card once again because it's so stinking cute. All right, so let me get this straight. And then we're just going to put that right there. Okay. Now I'm going to come in with my sponge dauber. Yeah, it's so funny because I always think of Halloween cards, but I never think about the fact that I have a daughter-in-law who actually has a birthday on Halloween, and that I should be making a lot more Halloween cards for her, because she was born on Halloween. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, and this takes a little bit of practice, but it's really not that hard. So I just start kind of off the edge, and I'm going to get the areas that are not close to the stamped images first. And then when I come into where the stamped images are, I just kind of slow down a little bit, and I just kind of lean it in kind of more to one side, and I'm still leaving kind of a white edge around. I'm not like getting it perfect, but I don't want like a ton of ink when I'm getting close to my stamped image. So you know what, let me bring this in so you guys can see what I'm doing a little bit better. So I just kind of put this at an angle so that I can get in to the areas that are kind of hard to get into. So I hope you guys can see that. It's just kind of at an angle. So I'm just going to come in again and just really make sure it's angled. Anytime I get close to the stamped image, and I don't like that moon. I want that closer to the moon. So again, I'm just going to come in really close. Oh, I'm out of camera view. Okay. And again, we're just going to kind of, and then around the words, we're just going to get close to the words, but we're not going to obviously cover the words. And you'll see I always start off the page. And then, like I said, when I get in close, and it's okay that it's a little bit lighter because you want this to kind of look like a dark sky. And so if you don't like it, like I don't like how much white I've left on this side, so I'm just going to come in really softly and get that covered to where I like it so that there's not quite as much stark white showing. And then come in off the page, and we're going to go around the bottom. And then I'm going to come this way, and again I'm just folding that kind of down so that we get it around the words. All right, and then that's what that's going to look like. So that's a big job of sponging right there. Okay, and like I said, it looks, you know, and you can work on it. So like if you don't like seeing all of these stark edges, the more that you continue to rub this with like no ink on it, and you just kind of keep going around and around, the smoother that it will begin to look. But I don't mind all the stark, because again, I think it just makes it look like what it looks like on kind of a dark night where you can see lights coming through parts of the night. I think that's exactly what it looks like. All right, so now we're going to bring this in, and this is going to get mounted here. So we're going to bring in our Stampin' Seal. Oh, let me move back out. There we go. So you can see what I'm doing. We are almost done with this card. I know this one took just a bit, didn't it? All right. All right, so we're going to come in here, and we're just going to put this in like it would normally fit. All right, so then when you close it, see how cute that is? And then you open it and it says, "Have a hoot." Okay, so let's finish the front of our card. All right, so we've got these 3 little pieces that we want to put on the front of the card. And one is the little pumpkin, and I'm going to put the little pumpkin with the owl hiding behind it down here. And I am going to kind of trim some of this off because I kind of feel like this bottom got a lot more white. I probably didn't have that dye on there quite right. So I'm going to come in with some liquid glue. And we're going to put this guy down here in this little corner here. We want to make sure that our door will open. So as long as you get this little hand right here underneath that gate, you're good. And then for this, I'm going to have it kind of hanging part of it in here. So I'm just going to make sure I only put glue on this side. So I'm going to kind of turn it like this so I know which side is going to be to the left. And I'm just going to try to get some of the main places and the tips. Oh wait, no, that is one. So I'm just getting little bits of glue. Again, I'm trying not to get a lot of glue, but just I want those tips to be definitely down. But this inside is going to be on the inside, so we definitely want to make sure there's no glue there. So that's just going to lay like that. So it kind of overlaps. Whoops. Let me see if I've got glue on this side. I don't. Okay. Let me just push this down really good. All right, and then I'm going to come in with my wizard, not my gnome, and I'm going to pop him up. Oh, but before I pop him up, I don't want the bell on the end of his little hat. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So he's got this little bell on the end of his hat. So what I decided to do was bring in the iridescent pearls that go with this Magic in the Night suite. And we're going to just grab one of these pearls. And I can't find any of my tools. I just had the pick a tool out. So I'm going to grab one of these, and I want to get one that's kind of more of the purple. And we're just going to, because I went ahead and colored that bell with the dark smoky slate. And so it already gives it a background, but then it makes him look more like a wizard Whoops, because he's got that little iridescent pearl on that bell, because I didn't think that Wizards probably had bells like that. Okay, so now I need my mini dimensionals. And we're going to put one right there to help hold the weight of that bell. But then again, he's going to be kind of over here on this gate on this side. So I only want to get the dimensionals kind of down this side over here, just so that they don't show through the gate. So we're going to pull those off. And then this little guy, is gonna stand right, well, let me get him over a little bit more. I kind of want him straight, but, so he's gonna be right by the gate. And then what I did is I pre-stamped this, because you know that the Whisper White craft ink takes a little time to stamp. Oh, I'm sorry, I had that all in close-up. I don't know if you guys saw that, so let me get you back out. So I pre-stamped this, and then I cut this out. This is one of the dies in this So Sweet, Stitch So Sweetly, and it's this little tiny one right here, which I think sometimes we think, what would I ever use that for? Well, this is it right here. We're going to use it for the little boo on this. Okay, so I kind of did the same thing here as I did when I was tracing this, is I came in here and I took my pencil and I kind of marked like where this was going to be, so I kind of knew where to put my glue. So then I can kind of look and I can see that I need to put glue here and here, and then probably just barely right there. Because again, I didn't want to just put it on the back of this and then stick that down there, because I didn't think that that would work as good. All right, but like I said, because I used the Whisper White craft ink, I wanted to let that dry before I tried to do this. And then I'm just coming in with my eraser and I'm erasing those pencil marks. And then one last thing is I'm going to come in with this really fun metallic ribbon that comes in that Magic in the Night suite. And I just need a small little bow, so I'm just going to cut it. Hopefully that's going to be big enough. And then I'm just going to tie a knot in this. It just kind of gives it a little more dimension. Okay, so I'm just going to tie that knot, and I'm going to come in with a glue dot and stick this right up here in this corner. All right, and then of course I'll be trimming that. So we'll trim that to that length and trim this one to kind of match it. All righty. All right, so there's our Halloween card with the gnomes and the Have a Hoot set. I hope you guys like it. This was so much fun. And then, of course, it says boo, but this does open so that you can see what's on the inside. But then when they open it up, it says boo, have a hoot have a hoot on Halloween. So I hope you guys like it. So let me bring in both the cards that I did with this set. Like I said, I added a lot to this one, but I just kind of wanted to show you how versatile the gnomes are. They're not just for Christmas. They work really good for Halloween. And so that's the Halloween card. And then here's our Christmas card. And then, like I said, you could do another one of these with the garden theme and have all the flowers and all of that, and to have these guys as garden gnomes, where you put one of the gnomes on top of their little house here. I don't think I would use her because she's got a Christmas tree, but either one of these would work fine for garden gnomes. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a ton of fun doing it. And like I said, it's pre-recorded, but you can still put your comments on anytime and let me know what you think of these cards. So I will talk to you guys when I get back from my scrapbook retreat. Hope everybody's has had a great week. And yeah, just put your comments here and I will answer those at a later time. Everybody have a great evening. Talk to you soon. Bye.